You like Wuthering Waves, I like Wuthering... Well, I mean, I hope you like Wuthering Waves. Otherwise, you're hate watching this video, and that just seems like it really serves absolutely no purpose whatsoever. With this in mind, I sat down with several different content creator friends to discuss one singular thing that Wuthering Waves does better than any other aspect of the game, and one single thing that it does worse. The worst and best aspects of the game. I broke this down into 2 parts. I uploaded a video about a week ago titled "This is why Wuthering Waves is #1." That is focusing on the positive aspect of the game. This video is focusing on the negative. This is not a hate video, this is not a negative video. It is a 2-parter before you guys jump to conclusions. This right here is just what a few different active WoWA players think is the worst part of the game, because no game is infallible. There are always good and bad, pros and cons, positives and negatives to every game. Now let's jump right in.
One of the most lacking combat styles in Wuthering Waves, because we have been talking about combat, are the pistol users. The pistol users have a significant disadvantage because they cannot accurately parry compared to other weapon types. Talking about Devil May Cry, what I think they should do, what I think they should try to at least implement, is implement a gun kata type style. The way you can use the different the dual pistols, and the way you can change the arms and where the arms focus, and you can actually more granularly control where they shoot. And I think they need a little bit more power sometimes against just even in their normal attacks as well. If they can implement some kind of system in there, just give it a bit more interest and a bit more uniqueness, instead of just like shooting, just shoot. That's not all that fun. But if you got this gun cutter thing.
So Ryuuku asks his first. Amethyst, what is one thing right now that you think WoWA could improve on?
Multiplayer.
Thank goodness, yes.
I desperately want multiplayer to receive some more love in Wuthering Waves. I get it's primarily a single player experience. They can keep it a single player experience. However, if you can give me, for instance, remember when we had the tower defense multiplayer mode that was like in 1.2? Why is that not permanent? Keep that permanent. The multiplayer boss rush that we got in 1.3 or 1.4, I'm not sure which one it was. Why is that not permanent? If you can implement these multiplayer game modes into your game, and they get well received enough and people enjoy them enough, which clearly people do, keep them permanent. All you have to do is keep them permanent, and every couple of weeks or every patch, renew the rewards. But keep the mode where it is. I've discussed this before. That would be perfect. That would be an amazing reason for new and reoccurring players to want to play more of the game, because it's like, well, I've done everything in the single player experience, but now I want to grind with my friends. So I'm going to do that. Speaking of multiplayer, if we can ever get a dungeon domain, like anyone that is here that plays Destiny 2 or anything.
Anything.
Raids. We need raids.
We can't get raids. We can't get raids. If we get raids, it's gonna go PvP or pay to win.
No.
I
don't think it will.
You don't think so?
I think a Nightfall. So anyone that is watching, or anyone here that has played Destiny 2, that has played the Nightfall modes, the Nightfall crawler modes, where you go through like a room, you defeat a mob of enemies, you go follow the path, then there's a puzzle room, you go through the path, then there's a boss. Keep it so it's like a room-based mode, continuous room-based mode. And you know how in Depths of Elusive Realm now, every time you complete that room, you get like a reward. You can like claim a reward, like a little like the
roguelike feature.
Yeah. It literally would be a Depths of Elusive Realm kind of roguelike mode, but have it as a multiplayer thing. You both select a character you want, a single character. Keep it to the pick 3 system. You both select a character of the roster of characters that's either on the trial list or the list you own. Okay. Don't have the buffs like in Depths of Elusive Realm where you keep buffing your character. Keep it as your base roster characters, and then just go into the similar sort of thing. You go to the next room through the door, you go to the next room, it's a mob of enemies. And then just have it as room to room to room, but have it as a multiplayer orientated mode. And then at the end, get rewards that are like ultra rare golden essential materials for your characters, or ultra rare essential materials for your skill tree for that character that you want. And then that would entice people again to play together, play the game more with their friends, and have it. Don't keep it to like 3 a week like the weekly bosses. If you want it to be limited for limited rewards, have 5 a week, 5 per week. You log in, you do it. It's about half an hour per game. You can do it 5 times a week. Even if you've expelled and expunged the rewards, you can still play it with your friends and get basic rewards.
Yeah, basic essential like bell puppies and whispering chorus, that sort of thing.
That is what we need.
So
on the
sorry, go ahead.
On the world generation thing, they should do what they do in Warframe, where it's like the map is like kind of randomly generated as well. I don't know if anyone's played Warframe. They do that same thing there, where you can select a stage, and every time you select that stage, it's different in a certain way. It's kind of like similar. They're all like preset, but it's not AI generated. It's like randomly generated. That would lessen the amount of.
I just don't want it to become like an MMO kind. That's the only thing I will say about that, the random generated mode, because then it would come across like, oh, there's a world boss. No, because it's not an MMO. I'd rather, like, I understand what you're saying, but I disagree with to an extent, because I don't want it to become too much like a looter shooter MMO type thing. The Nightfall roguelike multiplayer mode I think would be good because it's in its own domain, and I think the multiplayer modes that we've had in the game thus far, like the tower defense mode and the boss rush mode, those need to come back as permanent events, as permanent multiplayer events. I just think we need more exclusive multiplayer events. Keep the world of Wuthering Waves and the open world as it is, as single player experience, but allow these doorways and these little modes that you can go in for multiplayer. That's me.
No, that is a great idea. I think multiplayer is something that very few gacha games touch on. Like, you know, when Genshin first came out, I don't know if you guys were around before, like when Genshin first revealed their trailer. A friend of mine, Cry, and I were 2 of the very first MMO content creators to cover the game. And that is because at the time we believed that the game was going to be an MMO from the leaks that we'd received. So we covered it from the perspective of it being an MMO, and therefore we believed that there was going to be a degree of multiplayer present. And, you know, when we finally got into it, we saw that it was mostly a single player experience, but, you know, you could go in with like 4-player co-op, but the world didn't, you know, progress for everyone involved. We were incredibly disappointed. And, well, you know, upcoming gacha games don't necessarily need to have, you know, like world sync progression as well. I do believe that multiplayer is an aspect of gacha gaming that, for whatever reason, studios just always seem to disregard. So I completely agree, man.
I think it would be silly for Kuro not to do it, because no other gacha game in the big gacha games has done it. HSR had a prime opportunity to do it for a turn-based multiplayer gacha, didn't do it. Genshin, it was stupid for Hoyo not to do that. They didn't do it. ZZZ, again, would be a good idea for that. Hasn't done it. Kuro would be sitting on a gold mine of players and a gold mine of attention if they go.
Why haven't we talked? Why haven't we talked, bro? Why haven't we talked, man?
We all need to talk like more, like, because I don't think we have the time to go into all this in this like, 1 hour, because we're only on the first point right now. We've got another 30 minutes to get.
Hey, we can leave it at 2 points if necessary.
I was gonna say, I think all of us have, like, can we verify everyone has co-op or something about multiplayer in their list?
That's in my list. It's in my list. And that's actually
I think we all just kind of have it, right? So it's because it's like, I was gonna mention, you were talking about Destiny 2 and the different like dungeons and whatnot, and they brought up Remnant. Remnant has Remnant from the Ashes.
I need to play Remnant. I need to play it. I need to play it.
And it's like basically like Dark Souls but with guns, but the rooms are randomly generated. Like, it's not the same, you know, thing. The only thing that's the same is the boss room, but the boss doesn't spawn in the same spot. So he could be at the top, he could be at the bottom, whatever. And then you also have, unfortunately this game failed, but Wild Hearts. It was EA's version of Monster Hunter, and they had a very similar aspect to it, but it was like they took the formula of Monster Hunter and then made it their own, and then like, oh, you can have pretty much Fortnite if you want to, you know, compare it to something with the building, but it was really cool. And I'm like, Wuthering, just like you said, they're sitting on a gold mine. If they took co-op and just the whole open world, getting friends, like the whole 3 people thing, and just like being able to play that. And then they added, which we'll get into that point later, but they added like fluidity between teams, like team synergy. Everything about the game would be like, it would be so far of its own thing. You can never compare it to something previously. You can't say, oh yeah, they got this from Genshin, or they got this from PGR. Like, no, this is Wuthering.
If Kuro do that, anyone that tries to come, like, now I always refer to, whenever I do any videos that do a comparison or something to do with Wuthering, to Genshin or HSR, I always say these games have amazing fan bases, but then there's the flip side of the fan base. Those are the Genshin stands. We're not calling the entire community stands or people that hate Wuthering Waves or the Kuro haters. We're calling the toxic side of that community. The majority of I've spoken to Genshin players, HSR players, ZZZ players that have played Wuthering Waves and go, they love the game just as much, sometimes if not more, than the Hoyo games. We're not calling all of you guys toxic. We're saying there's an element of your fan base that is toxic. And if Kuro do something like this for multiplayer, that will shut them up. And the only reason they will complain is because they don't like the fact that Kuro's done it before Hoyoverse.
Yep.
That is the only reason.
It's the same argument that people say about the term toxic masculinity. It's not saying that masculinity is toxic, just saying there is a version of masculinity which is toxic. We're talking about that version. So that's exactly what it's saying. Solace, you want to say something? Sorry?
Oh, you're good, man. Go ahead.
No, you want to say something.
Yeah, Solace, what are your thoughts on multiplayer? Let's get out of the way.
Too quiet. We need to
He's so calm about it.
I have a whole point here. So EO, you hit the nail on the head, man. I've got like a whole list of stuff, and the multiplayer and the MMO aspect of it is part of it. And I wanted to bring up because I had a recent video and it was like Wuthering Waves on the verge of greatness or whatever, and I went through a list of things where I was like, hey, if they did this, and one of the things was this. It was MMO style content, multiplayer, that kind of stuff. Captain Cabinets reacted to it. Because I said the same thing that Amethyst says. I was like, something along the lines of, man, this is a gold mine. And she was like, Tower of Fantasy, and I was like, oh shit, I completely
we don't talk about that here.
Did it bad. That's bad.
No.
They 100%. Ruined it, bro.
I didn't play Tower of Fantasy.
Implementation.
In fact, it was not even. I didn't even think about it to the point where I literally thought that I was like, Kuro will be the first ever to try this, right?
There's been an MMO gacha game. Yeah.
So I guess my point being, just don't do what Tower Fantasy did, whatever the hell that was.
Yeah.
It was
super greedy. It was really
greedy. Greedy. It was a server-based gacha.
You don't have to be the first to do it. You just have to be the first to do it right. That's
the best to do it. Don't be the best to do it. Don't be the first. Be the best. And the thing is,
not even best. Just be the first to do it right. That's all you need.
Yeah, like what you were saying. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off there, buddy. Sorry, I don't mean to. I'd say like when everyone goes, but look at Tower Fantasy. Look, Tower Fantasy was in my opinion. I played it on the console, hated it. I gave it like 6 hours, turned it off, deleted the game, wasted space on my PlayStation. I think the whole MMO aspect they were trying to sort of go down was the incorrect path of this gacha game. If they kept it single player but had multiplayer elements, it would have worked. The fact that the entire thing was MMO server based. Now, Tower of Fantasy has its own fan base. I'm happy for you. I'm glad you like the game. Unfortunately, I think it's dog shit and I don't want to play it. I don't want to play the game because I think what they've done is a good idea. They had an amazing idea. They held it here. They had the world in their hands and they just went, because they just wanted a little bit too much from the game. They wanted and expected a little bit too much. The game looks pretty. The game looks gorgeous. And the character designs look amazing. The voice acting's good. I don't know anything about the story because I didn't play enough of it.
There's a story?
Yeah.
Apparently.
I think there is. Yeah.
Something's going on.
I want to disagree with you. You said that, I think you said, forgive me if I'm wrong, that Kuro shouldn't basically copy others. I think they should go the other way. I think they should copy fucking everyone.
No, I'm saying I don't think they should.
Let me just finish the point. On that point about having a single player with multiplayer aspects, this goes back to what I was saying about Warframe as well. Warframe is a massive property where you can play a single player with no problems. But if you want to go into a world, they have not recently, it's been a few years now, they have a world area where it's basically just MMO. Like it's just an open area and all that. So if you want to go into that MMO area, you can go to the MMO area and just have fun there, or you can play by yourself, or you can go into team modes to do the dungeon raids as well. And then also another thing that I've been not working. I'm not part of Kuro. Kuro, hide me. I'm open.
He's exposed himself.
Yeah.
No, this is a PG-13 video, okay? Cover that shit up, man.
But, something I've been thinking about what they could do is I think they should take a lesson from other games such as, say, PUBG. What I mean by that is in PUBG, when you're in this massive area, I don't mean the 100 brawler thing, I mean, interesting, but no. I mean about the mortar system, like where you've got certain sections of the map where if you go in this area, you have a risk of getting obliterated because the mortars come down.
That's the dark zone from the Division as well. They did that in the Division.
What they should do is they should do something similar in the Wuthering Waves world, where you get random occurrences of tacit fields. Because right now we have the tacit fields where the bosses are Tempest, Mephist, Crown, this sort of thing. But the thing is, they have it in lore where the tacit fields can randomly occur, and we haven't seen that at all since 1.0, where Crown's tacit field occurred. Since then, they've always just been there. If they could implement something like this randomly occurring tacit field thing, you can go there or you can avoid it. If you go there, you can get some amazing rewards, like you were saying earlier about you can clear this area, you can get some pretty like ultra rare rewards. Maybe not astrite, or maybe astrite. Maybe it's just like you can get, say, 100 astrite per week from doing these random things, but then it gets capped. But I think if they implement something like this, it could at least, going back to what was being said earlier about the what you said earlier, about the world itself, it's kind of feeling empty. If they include this as well, it can at least give the world some character, instead of just having a random quest from an NPC we don't care about, as they do in other games. I'm not going to say any names, Genshin. But if we have this kind of thing in there,
sorry, I'll cut that out.
Then it can. Sorry, do it. Cut it. If they can implement something like that as well, it would at least give the world some character and also some dangerousness. Because again, I as I said in my video, go watch that by the way. I don't really feel we have experienced the dangerousness of this post-apocalyptic world where we have all these tacit discords and tacit fields.
Yeah.
I don't feel that I need to be careful. I can just go in there and just one-shot everything. If we have something like that with real strong mobs, and maybe they're all elite enemies or something like that, that'd be really fun. That'd be really interesting. Something new as well in this gacha sphere.
I think it would kind of counterbalance, or at least, I think counterbalance is the right word. It would help with the fact that us as the player, our characters are the strongest thing in that world, right? Like we're literally a god at that point for the things that we can do, the damage that we can do, to the point where it's like, if you're not fighting holograms with level 100, or even to a degree TOA for some, some players, you're clapping anything in the game for free. It doesn't matter. You just face roll it and it's dead. So I love that idea that you just threw out there, dude, because that would be phenomenal to have.
The sense of danger,
It'd be new. It works in lore, and it's also it solves a bunch of issues.
I agree. Because they've done something similar to that in Pokemon. If you look at Pokemon, if you look at the recent Scarlet and Violet, they have something called the terrestrialized fields or the terrestrialized caves. Where they spawn randomly, and then when you interact with it, it goes, oh, this wild Pokemon has terrestrialized, and it's a danger to society. Basically, you need to kill it or catch it.
You gotta kill it.
You gotta kill it or catch it, basically. But it would be the same sort of thing. It would literally be on your map. You could see like little icons of mini tacit fields that are starting to grow, and you have to disable them before they get too big or some shit like that. Yeah. And then you get rewards, like little rewards. But yeah, no, I think that would.
Sorry.
Oh, no, I was done.
The problem of Kuro games is that they are. I was hoping that they would take more risks, and it seems from my view in recent patches that they just want to stick with the tried and true gacha trope methods, and I was hoping that they would be the one with this game to take the risks of to buck the tropes of typical gacha games. In my criticisms of Wuthering Waves is what I said before. Even in the video, people said, well, that's just what gacha games are like. Yes, I know, but they don't have to be just a gacha game. They could be a game first with gacha elements. You can incorporate this PUBG type thing I was mentioning. You can incorporate these raids from like Destiny and also Warframe. You can incorporate all these things. Just take things that work from other games, MMOs, RPGs, all these things. Take all these things, put them in there, and make something really great. And I really want them to do that. Sorry.
I really want to hammer that home, man. I really want to hammer that home because I have another note that is exactly that, and that was like one of the big things. Is like I'm tired, at least me personally. I'm sure people may have different opinions on this, but there's this thing called the gacha game loop that everybody's familiar with, where you log in after a patch, you clear all the content within like 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hours, however many hours it takes you, and then you're done, and then you log in for your dailies, and that's pretty much it until the next patch. And everybody just kind of accepts that is the way that it is, and I get that. And for some people that may be preferable. For me personally, especially with Wuthering Waves, like I want more than that. I don't want that to be what it is anymore. And I think I don't know of any gacha game that has ever done anything that is not that. So Wuthering Waves could be the first. If they break out of that gacha game loop and make it to where I have things that I want to log in and do that is just it's not just my dailies.
Yeah.
How many of you guys have played MMOs? Just real quick, how many of you guys have played MMOs?
Again, yeah.
So all of us have played MMOs.
I was gonna say.
A lot of MMO players have transitioned over to two kinds of video games. Multiplayer survival, like Valheim, Pow World, right? Like, I've talked to so many MMO creators that I've met over the course of my career through YouTube, and the vast majority of them play either in their spare time or with their friends or know other creators that only play survival games that are multiplayer, right? Because they offer something that MMOs used to offer, and that was like difficult cooperative play. Yes. And the other players or creators have transitioned over to gacha games, and that is because gacha games give them a lot of what MMOs used to give them as well, and that was like a story, daily quests, farming, like in Genshin with artifacts, like in Wuthering with echoes. They're the same thing. Like, the MMO genre right now is stagnant and is in the slow process of declining due to the fact that those two genres have eclipsed and absorbed the MMO player base and have just kind of like expanded upon them to an extent. So what you're describing, Solace, is essentially the MMO loop. Like, it is the gacha loop, but it is also the MMO loop, and it has been the MMO loop for decades. So that has been the case for... Yeah, go on.
One thing I hear in opposition to what we're all talking about right now, but we want these games to be better. We want the games to have actual meaningful dialogue options. We want the games to have meaningful co-op in there. We want all these games to be better in certain ways. And something I hear all the time, it annoys me so much. They don't need to. Don't fix what ain't broke. Like, that's a very stupid mindset.
I hate that so much.
Why not make it better? Like, it's fine. It's fine. If I have a cup of tea, I love my tea. I'm British, of course. My bottle of water, my couple of teas. I've got my cups of tea. Yeah?
Bottle of water.
I've got a bottle of water. Got my cup of tea, right? My tea is.
Wait, you're British? I thought you were Japanese.
Shut up. Right, I've got my tea. This tea tastes amazing. I add sugar in that. It makes it taste even better. Why not add things to make things better? Yeah, you don't have to. We're not saying you have to, but it'd be good if they did. This is a conversation that a lot of gacha players and even other CCs as well, they don't have to do that. Yeah, yeah, we don't have to. But what if they did?
But that's the MMO
it's
mentality.
It's not really a risk. It's annoying. It's annoying. I hate that mentality. It's so defeatist. Because the same thing. I used this example before in my video, but about comic book movies as well. They don't have to make these changes. They don't have to make like world-changing movies for comic book movies. But what if they did? And then you get a Dark Knight. The same thing with Lord of the Rings as well. That Lord of the Rings property was seen as an unadaptable property for the longest time, for literally decades. And then we got the best trilogy, arguably the best trilogy to ever exist. One of the best trilogies to ever all time. Yep. Because someone actually tried and they took it seriously. They knew what they needed to cut. They knew what they needed to keep. They knew what they needed to do. And the same thing goes with all these games as well. Like, this defeatist mentality is so annoying. We need to get out of this mentality. They don't need to, sure, but they should. That's the difference.
And the multiplayer aspect that we're all talking about, I think, is something that Kuro need to do. Not need to, but they should, in my opinion, they should do. Because I know a lot of other content creators don't want it to be multiplayer orientated. We're not saying it needs to be orientated and focused solely on multiplayer, but having aspects of the game that are multiplayer so it pleases both audiences.
Yes.
Primarily single player. Keep your story, keep your open world, keep keep everything that we've got in the game that is primarily a single player experience, like the single player events and all that stuff, but then have these nightfalls that we were talking about, like Destiny 2 Nightfall kind of modes, like have these tower defense multiplayer modes, all the modes you've released, Kuro, keep them, reintroduce them as permanent modes, and all you need to do is every patch renew the rewards, or every couple of weeks renew the rewards. You've done that for depths now. They've updated depths, so now it's like every week or every Monday or every couple of weeks they renew the rewards. Do that for these modes.
Say against that is that some people don't like doing those things. Some people like to stay alone. Some people like to play solo. So what them? They don't get the rewards. Well, that's their problem, isn't it? That's their problem. I'm sorry, it just is.
It is a thing. Like, we're not saying like if you want to play solo, you can still play solo. We're just saying you could probably have the option like you do in these other games like Destiny and these other games like these MMOs.
Warframe, yep.
You can do them. So you can do these multiplayer aspects. You can do the multiplayer mode solo. Is it going to be fucking hard? Absolutely. Yes. But if you want to do them solo, do them solo. We're not saying you have to.
What if I'm a casual? But what if I'm a casual and I want to do it solo? What about then, Amethyst? You never thought about that, did you? Did you? You selfish little prick.
This is the autoplay argument all over again. And what that is that people, like, studios like to implement autoplay into a game, and then there are players that believe, you know, if there's autoplay in a game, then it's going to be an autoplay friendly game. And if it's autoplay friendly, that means you should utilize the autoplay feature. You know, like, why would you use the autoplay feature? Why wouldn't you use the autoplay feature? That whole mentality around there is a feature present, therefore you have to use it, right? That falls into the multiplayer mentality that Amethyst was talking about, you know, just because multiplayer is going to be there, or there are going to be MMO aspects there, doesn't mean you need to inherently utilize them. It's just there for the people that want it, right? Autoplay is there in certain games like Blue Archive and Nikke, right? You can control your characters in Nikke, you can use your abilities in Blue Archive, right? Arknights has autoplay as well. You can place down and utilize all your things manually too. But for people that want auto, it's there. It's an option. It's not something that is a necessity, but it is there as an option. So multiplayer, just like Amethyst pointed out, let be, you know, great inclusion, but absolutely not necessary.
Stix, it's literally like the skip button. Because why you put skip button? That means your story is not good enough, so you have to skip it. Like, no, the skip button is for those people that want it, but you don't have to use it just because it's there. You don't have to use it. Same thing as well. Like, again, to fill in the world, going back to EO's point. There's two separate sets of things you can collect in Wuthering Waves. They've got the chests, the crates and such, and they've also got these tidal heritages, these like blue, purple, and gold things. The chests, okay, you open those, they're gone. I think they should make the tidal heritages respawn, and when they respawn, every patch, and when they respawn, the way you know, have I cleared that one? Have I not cleared that one? The enemies that are guarding it are stronger because you've already cleared them. It's fine. And
make them red. Make them
like,
the glowy red aura stuff.
Yeah, the elite enemies. Yeah. Something I was told. Something I was said to me is like, "Oh, I don't want to do that every month." Well, don't fucking do it.
Don't
every
do
month,
it.
Then. I mean, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. It's just there to fill out the world. Again, if you implement these two things, like I said, the mortar type tacit field, randomly generated tacit field areas, and this, the world would feel a lot fuller. This is my opinion. I think if they put that, it'd be really good.
It would be like, oh, there's nothing to do. No, there's plenty of stuff to do. That's why they're doing it. Like, it's like what we've all just said. If you don't want to do them, don't do them. But if you don't want these, like, what are the chests called? They're not chests. What are they called, Ryuuku? These other ones?
Oh, I'm sorry.
But you know, the floaty reward ones. The floaty reward ones.
Tidal heritages.
The tidal heritages. If you don't want to do them every patch, don't do them. But if you want to do them again, they've made it more difficult so you can gain the rewards again.
Yeah.
And have fun doing it. It gives you something to do, and it entices you. Since they're higher level difficulty enemies, it also makes it more fun because it requires a little bit more skill and it requires a little bit more thought.
It solves the problem of having all the mobs just die in one shot as well. Then you have a set of mobs that, more mobs that don't die in one shot, and then you can actually listen to the music longer than just have the first 10 seconds. It solves so many problems, and people are like, I don't want to do that. Well, don't do it then. It's simple as that. You don't have to.
EO, give us a third point.
Yeah, man.
We've gone through numerous already.
Let me open my notepad. Hold on. Why are we arguing? Wait a minute. Whoa, why are you arguing?
No, come on. Give me something spicy. Give me something spicy.
It's not spicy. I don't have any spicy ones, all right? I think...
Then why are you here?
All right.
No, he's here to look pretty, okay? One of us
Exactly. I
needs
just got out of the shower. Thank
Why do
you.
you
Thank
think
you.
he had a shower? He wanted to be here to just look pretty.
Exactly.
Give it the blue steel to the camera, you know, and just
do
tell
that
us
well.
why.
Thank
And tell us why Wuthering Waves needs a him. We know this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Oh my god.
Eventually it was gonna come out. If I didn't say it, somebody else is gonna say it. You know.
Hey,
But
hey,
all
hey,
jokes aside,
hey,
I
we're all
think
friends here. We're all friends here.
for sure. That's a crazy meme though. Just off topic, man.
That's funny.
Yeah,
I love it.
It has a lot of weight to it. I like it. But
He is
my my third point would have to be the ecosystem. Like in this, of course, everything that I have ties into just that open world experience, right? Because there's so much you could do, and like I think this just comes from a background. Like I like world building, right? And you draw or you read comic books, whatever. Like the world building aspect of a lot of things, it just fills everything out. And you have the entire aesthetic of Pokemon built into the ecosystem, but you don't have anything else about Pokemon. So, okay, cool, we can catch it. Great. Can I raise it? No. Can they battle? No. Can I trade them? No. And even the shinies, that pisses me off so bad, dude. The fact that we have
Good
shiny
point,
echoes,
good point, yeah,
dude, and like, hey, the shiny echo is here, but they're always in this one spot, and there's only 2 in the game. Why do we have this? Oh, and if you want more, then you have to go do the whatever the elusive realm. Yeah, you know what? I'm like, okay, that's fine. You give everybody a chance to get it without having to go grind for it. That's totally fair.
Can I chime in on that exact
Absolutely.
point right there?
Yeah.
I cannot tell you, like, the first time that I realized, like, I found my first shiny and I was so happy. And then, I don't know, maybe like a couple days later.
Then you found out, you're like,
I ran
oh.
up
Another one.
the same spot and I saw the same shiny and I was like, God,
Oh,
my day is ruined. My
Yeah.
disappointment.
No,
is
yeah,
made.
takes the whole thing away, bro. That joy is gone.
Yeah, I'm so glad, that you brought that point up, because shinies need to be randomized. I don't want them scripted areas. I want them randomized.
Yeah.
Because and I don't want them to be cosmetic. I don't want them to go, well, you've caught one, so you could. No. I don't care if people complain. Oh, but the shiny one I've got terrible stats.
Go find another one.
Go find another one then.
Yeah.
The point of having a shiny in your possession is what makes it special, because you have what the other person doesn't have. If you have those terrible odds, like 1 in 1,000 odds of finding a shiny in the overworld, the fact that you've got one when hundreds to thousands of people don't makes that special. Having them as a cosmetically customizable thing, fine, I understand why they did that, but the fact that you've done that, I think, takes away from the fact that you found yourself a shiny. Because if for whatever reason we have trading, we won't ever have trading echoes in the game, but for whatever reason we did, someone would be like, oh, but I've got 2 of these shinies, here you go, I have to have the shit version of my shiny. But if you've got that, you've now got the shiny, the shinies need to be randomized, and I would prefer them not to be unified, customizable. But I understand why they did that. But at least make them randomized in the world, not scripted.
You know what they could do to make them more appealing to players? They can implement everything that you just said there. Like right now we have five different substats. You have shinies have 6. 6.
That's such a good idea. That makes
like
it more
that.
enticing to get. Yeah.
And then again, it's not a skin. It makes it more appealing because you're looking for shinies. Like, it's like, I found a shiny, but then you've got the RNG as well. You're going through all that grind. It's like, oh, my shinies, it's crap. And again, that goes to
Such a good idea.
You could also make it to where the ranges for the stats are just slightly above what a normal one is.
They tend to go higher. Yeah.
Yeah, you can get a higher cap on the
since
stats.
it's a PvE game, it doesn't matter if people complain, because it's like, well, no, it's just luck. It's just luck. Go out and search. Have the odds so eventually, because obviously they refresh every 24 hours. If you just go through every task of Discord, they're dead, they're review. Yeah. Obviously have it to the point where you can find one.
You can find one or two a day, at least 1 or 2 a day.
But you don't know what species it's going to be. You don't know where it's going to be. You don't know what stats it's going to have. But I believe what Ryuuku just said about it having a 6th substat and having what Solace just said, that when you obviously maximum upgrade, let's say it's HP, or let's just say it's attack percentage. Obviously, what is the maximum for a gold one? 22% of attack percentage. Have it so it's 25.
You have 25.
Yeah. Because then that way, it just makes it that much better. Just having that would just make it so much better and so much more special.
We have to be careful though that that if they do implement that system, I think again, I came up with it. I think it'd be a great thing to implement. But if they do that, I don't want Kuro to also think that they need to make endgame to accommodate those, because it would like cut off a lot of people as well.
Yeah, that'd be crazy.
I agree. Yeah.
I just keep the end game like same as it. Just imagine they all have.
Or just have that as a treat. Have that as a treat if you have one.
A little cherry on top. Just a little cherry on top.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I agree.
So why haven't they hired you yet, Ryuuku?
Dude, I don't know. I have all these great ideas. Why, Kuro, hire me or anyone. Hire me. I need the money. I need the money. Okay, if Kuro hired me, I could do English translations. I could do Japanese translations. I could do all this game design. I could do all these game ideas. Dude, I'm the jack of all trades. Why the fuck aren't you hiring me? That's all I can say.
Solace, give us another point, man.
Okay. I'm gonna. You wanted something spicy, and I think
reach deep.
This might be spicy. I don't know. We'll see, though. We'll see. Let's talk about Rover glazing. Let's talk about Rover glazing.
Wait. Are we for Rover glazing or against Rover glazing?
We are. I am in the camp that Rover glazing does not exist. I think it is a made-up room temperature Twitter IQ take. That's what I think. And I'm going to explain why. So, hold on.
Okay.
They're prepping the twit longers.
This is where the fun begins.
Just bear with me. Hey,
my Google Doc is ready. Let's fucking go.
I'm sure there's some discussion to be had here.
Experience of Solace.
You may agree or disagree, but I just want to. This is my thought. I do not think that glazing is what's happening. So I think there's a lot of layers to this. I think so. Rover is a godlike being. I think there's not really a lot of debate about that anymore. Actually, Sydney Mars made a really, really good video where he talks about how the system in Wuthering Waves, like all the characters and beings in Wuthering Waves, are related to Greco-Roman mythology. We know from recent story stuff that Rover is like millions of years old, and we know that she or he, whatever, wiped her own memory for whatever reason. I don't think we know the reason why that happened yet, but it's just, so we know that Rover is like this godlike being, right? And so the discourse on Twitter that I see anyway is oh my god, everybody loves Rover, everybody's in love with Rover, and that is just not what I see at all. I just did a lore video on Camellia, and that would be probably the #1 character. I feel that a lot of people would say, oh man, yeah, Camellia is in love with Rover. If you read her lore, she's not really. What you're really seeing, there's a couple of voice lines that you're gonna see, and I don't know if Kuro's doing that, if that's just part of the marketing, like, because they know like people like that shit. I'm not really sure, but she's not really in love with Rover, in my opinion. And I guess part of my argument for that would be, at times, like, so Camelia's psycho, like, she's crazy, dude. Like, she's been through some shit, and at times she actually considers killing Rover. And I would just ask anybody, I think a couple of you guys are married, right? Like, I've been married almost 10 years.
I want to kill my wife every day, dude. Let's go.
I was
well, see, it's the reverse for me. She wants to kill me every day.
I'm not surprised. I want to kill you too, Stix.
Well,
really?
Just taking my point.
God damn.
Trash, and that's fine. I guess I was just gonna say I've been married to my wife for like 10 years, and I've never thought about killing my wife. So that's just like
just so we're all clear, I'm fucking joking, okay?
Yeah, we know.
That's what he says now.
but there's a lot going on there. There's a lot going on there. But what I don't think that it's love, and I think a lot of things that or another one that a lot of people kind of pile on with that is Shorekeeper. And as I just mentioned, Rover is a godlike being, and Rover created Shorekeeper, and what and I haven't done a video on that, and I haven't done the deep dive myself yet, but what I actually believe is going on there is more of something akin to a religious thing. Like, it's almost religious in nature, like it's like the created loving their creator type of thing. It is not like a romantic love. And so anyway, I'm saying all that to say I have a suggestion at the end of this, I promise. And if people want to disagree, that's fine. I get it. It's cool. I just don't think that Rover glazing is real. I think it is just something that people made up on Twitter because they want to complain. What I think people are really actually complaining about, even if they don't realize it, is the lack of depth and like in the sense of characters interacting with one another, like side stories existing that don't completely revolve around Rover. So
Yeah, that's essentially what it
I
is.
think
you know,
it's a
one
bit of
character,
both.
one
I think
character's interactions with Rover. A lot of the side, like basically all the side stories. This is actually not 100% true either, because we have a relationship between Alto and Encore. There's a little bit of a relationship between like Sanhua and Jinshi, but there's not enough of that. Most of everything is Rover.
I don't think we've ever seen Jinshi actually talk to Sanhua in the story. We've never seen it.
Is there not one?
I think there's like one minor interaction, and it's very, very brief. Very brief.
They're supposed.
In my mind, I was
Sanhua
thinking-
is supposed to be the bodyguard. Sanhua is supposed to be the bodyguard of Jinshi. They never interact. We've never
The
seen
only
that
time
at all.
the only time they interact is when after you fight Scar and Sanhua is keeping an eye on Rover, and the message she's relaying back is to Jinshi. That's the only, I believe.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, that is the only time I believe that
We've ever seen them together.
technically she's talking back to Jinshi. But even then, in person, we've never seen them interact in person.
Okay, that's a totally fair point. Like I didn't even like. I thought there was in my mind. I had it in my mind that there was maybe more interaction there, but that's the point, right? Like,
So me and you can
little-
talk about that all day, because I agree and I disagree on a lot of things, but I think that's separate from what the content of this video is. Like I'll just say about Camellia. I just say about Camellia. I do not think it's romantic. I think it's arousal. That's what it is.
I can see that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like arousal because I've said that she's attracted to power, and that arouses her, like stimulates her.
We know that in a
And then
trailer.
that
We know
leads
that in
on
the
to-
trailer.
Yeah,
We know
yeah.
that.
We all saw that
leads
happen.
on to- we all saw her get fucking staked, right? So she loved it, and she wants Rover to stake her as well in a different sense. That's the idea, anyway. So we can have a conversation about that.
Yeah,
because
and
I do think
I'm totally open to it. I'm not like hard rooted down to these
That's
thoughts
fine,
and
man.
opinions. It's just kind of, in any case, I think that even if we disagree on that, I think we could agree that what we need, what would improve the game, would be more interactions between characters and more interaction
absolutely.
of other characters within the
Excluding Rover.
Rover.
Yeah. Excluding
No
Rover. Excluding
No
Rover.
Rover.
I mean, Rover can. Oh, shit, I don't care, dude. If Rover wants to main character, she can main character. That's fine. Like,
See,
but I want
interestingly
more
enough,
of everybody else. And I have another note here that I put about this, and it's because this is something I've noticed, and I don't know if you guys have noticed it. Did we just lose someone?
No, I'm here. I'm still here.
Is dead.
I'm still here.
Badoop.
I'll be back. I'll be
So I
back.
put a note there. I put a note here, and I was like, "Is this a problem? Like, actually, is it a problem?" And I think it depends maybe on who you ask, because from what I've noticed, it's really only the EN community that has had a problem with this, and I don't know if that's true. So yeah, please, Ryuuku, please weigh in. I mean, absolutely.
Japanese players have also. I've seen plenty of comments from Japanese community. I cannot speak for CN at all because I don't speak Chinese. I have also seen a lot of Japanese players complain about certain aspects of how the characters interact with Rover, and the thing is that it depends on what audience we're talking about. If we're talking about the general gacha audience, no, not a problem at all. I mean, I'm also in there. I can look past it. I do not mind because I'm used to it, and that's fine. The thing is that I'm worried about, as I said, again, I'm trying to stop plugging. Okay. As I said before, is that I want this game. I thought this game could really appeal to a much more wider base. Not to appeal to everyone, but I feel like this game could appeal to a wider base that wants to enjoy combat. They want to enjoy lore and world building. But having these elements, whether you agree with them or not, the way that they portray Rover and the way the characters interact with Rover, it like kind of turns off a lot of those bases, a lot of those people as well. Like it's fine for me. I don't mind it because, like I said, I'm used to it. But there are a lot of people that just think, oh, it's going this way, I'm good, and they just log off, and then they are out of the community. So what happens is that the community condenses to only the people that enjoy it. That's why it's not a problem for them, but we're not talking about all these other people that did have that problem because they're not here anymore, which is unfortunate. And they're including this stuff in the story. It's not necessary. It's not necessary at all. the way I think they could fix it is, first of all, well, again, like I said, you disagree on this, but I think they should like tone down on the Rover glazing. At least the way they portray Rover, like in the flashbacks. If you see, Rover's always like backlit beautifully with this. Oh, yeah, no, it's kind of, it does give off the hint of romanticism, whether you agree with that or not, in my opinion, anyway. Also with the jiggle physics, I don't mind them. What I think they should do is there should be a toggle in the settings where the toggle is set off, and the jiggle physics aren't really there. For those that want it, they can go into the settings, turn it on, and they've got all the jiggle physics they want in the world. And I think that satisfies both players, and that way you can keep this other group, but still have the ones that want the jiggle physics. They're pushing away this other massive group of players for no reason when they don't need to. That's my opinion. That way, again, everyone's happy. I'm trying to provide solutions that satisfy everyone. Well, the vast majority, not everyone, because of course you can't have people that are loony left or like hard right. Both, you can't placate both of them. I'm not talking about them. I'm talking about the vast majority as a whole, like in general. You can't please everyone, because of course you can. But
so I might be in the minority here, and your guys'
yes,
discussion leads me to like the one single point I have for this entire video, and that is that for me, I'm a big JRPG fan, right? I grew up on Legend of Dragoon, the Suikoden games, Breath of Fire. I love JRPGs. They literally shaped me as a kid. And one thing that I dislike in Wuwa specifically is that there is no like clearly defined core cast of characters. They tried, right? They tried at the beginning. They had Yang Yang, Baija, Chisha, and they were there. They were like a central part of your little group, right? That you'd have in any typical JRPG. And then after that intro, you know, you're introduced to like Mortefi and all the other cast of characters, and then they just kind of, you know, disappear. Rover becomes the central point of the entire game, and nobody else matters except for one singular character per patch. That one character is the clear focal point and their relationship alongside Rover. But I think personally the game could strongly benefit from having a larger, more core cast of characters that would solve the issue of Wuwa glazing, because or not Wuwa glazing, Rover glazing, because you know, Rover wouldn't be the one that is, you know, constantly doing everything. Yeah, you'd have it would be a team effort. Everyone would be doing things together as a unit.
That would be a perfect time to introduce Yuan Wu to the team.
Shut up! Get out.
There we go.
Shut up.
Have Yuan Wu as the teacher.
No,
and
he's the
then
Discord mod.
He's
Kakashi. He's Kakashi.
He's Kakashi.
to your point as well, Stix as well. This goes back to the defeatist attitude I was talking about earlier. Like, we are from those games. Like again, I've said it before. Like my favorite game is Final Fantasy VIII. Again with Final Fantasy X as well. In Final Fantasy VIII, they have a core cast of about 7 people, and they are all fleshed out over this entire length of time. Perfectly. So you got Squall, Zell, Selphie, Rinoa, and Quistis. All these characters.
Yeah.
I can talk about Quistis for hours. Me, you can talk, dude. But like, they have all these characters and they flesh them out really, really well. And sometimes you have certain sections of the story where you don't really talk. You don't really like follow Squall. You don't really follow this. They can go with their own sections and you see how they interact with each other. And I've seen people. Well, that's a Final Fantasy game. You can't compare a gacha game to... Why can't I? It's a story issue. It's not a game issue, is it? Gacha is a monetization issue. When you say they can't do that, you are an idiot. You are legitimately just absolutely Stockholm Syndrome.
You are a
idiot.
fool.
You do not know what you're talking about. So whenever I hear people that defeats attitude, it really annoys the shit out of me. I think we're all in agreement on this one, or maybe someone wants to disagree.
I agree.
No, I agree too.
I agree. It is a story issue. It's not a game issue. All you need to do is
a story problem
it's
related
not,
to
it's
gacha?
Not. If Wuthering Waves took out the whole gacha element of summoning for characters, and they instead did it where every patch they did, you could just unlock the characters by grinding means, it would be more of a looter shooter than it would be a gacha game. And the story
don't need to do that.
No, but I'm saying if they took out the gacha element, the story would be the same. Which would show it's not a game issue, it's a story issue. So if the writing is better, then the story will be better. And I know they went through like rewrites of the script because people didn't like it. Point is, what Stix is saying is correct. If we had a core group of characters You don't have to have the core group of characters on every mission or every patch they do, but more importantly, like look at the Mount Firmament one. I believe that was a more Rover oriented. I think 1.1 was done perfectly in terms of it being Rover exclusive, because you had Changli, you had Jinchi there. I believe it was more about those three rather than Rover personally, and Abby as well. And then I think 1.3 would have been a good team effort based story. At 1.2 would have been a team, even though it's technically filler celebration arc, it would have been good to have a group of people help Zhang Liao about his dad, and the group comes together to have their own intricate roles in making the festival what it is.
They could have done more to the story, yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. We're going like an hour and a half.
Sorry.
No. Speaking of, it has been. Yeah, no, it has been over an hour, and I feel like we've all given at least roughly 2 points. So that was kind of the general point of it. 3 was more of a guideline. It wasn't, something that was set in stone. So I feel like we've all given some, I feel like, pretty good input on the topic. Curious question though, before we wrap things up here. Which gacha game or gacha games are each of you looking forward to in 2025 and beyond? Starting with Amethyst. Let's go.
I could be generic and go for Ananta because I'm looking for Ananta, but I am genuinely looking forward to Arknights Black Beacon.
All right, there we go. Nice, good. EO.
Black Beacon. Yeah.
I don't think I have one.
Really? And you're a gacha creator? God damn, dude.
I think no, because like, listen, right? My brain, my headspace has been Monster Hunter. The whole thing has been wild. So,
and in terms of game,
Monster Hunter Wild is going to be
wild.
Dude. When I was at the Tokyo Game Show, there were so many people there. They had like 80 different setups, and they were all full from dawn until dusk. Like, it was just absolutely
100% would be down to play that with you guys, by the way, when it comes out.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Yeah.
Like, I was excited for NTE, and not to say that I'm not, but
we know. Come on.
I played it, and then I'm like, okay,
I
enjoyed it when I played it. And then when I was done and I had time to sit down and like, okay, what would have made that experience better?
Ananta.
And I'm like, all right, and then Ananta just drops their trail. I'm like, okay, bro, wait a minute now. So
it kind of, I think the whole Project Mugen / Ananta, they sort of looked at it and went, have some of that.
A small little additive to that, Ananta's trailers, even Project Mugen's trailers, have garnered millions of views, like genuinely millions of views, whereas NTEs get on average like a couple 100,000, if that. The difference in hype there is very evident.
But I believe one of the reasons for that is because it's the same developers of Tower Fantasy, so people are a little bit like,
careful, you're not allowed to say that. I got reprimanded for saying that yesterday.
Okay.
The thing is,
oh my God.
Evidence has nothing to do with Tencent at all. Evidence has nothing to do with Tencent at all.
I'm not saying it is. I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying it.
People are aware of it because of the connection of their other property, but they actually have nothing in connection to them at all.
Let's just cut that bit. I'll just cut that.
Ryuuku, what are you looking forward to, man?
So many games. Like I said, I've mentioned Warframe a few times, so I'm looking forward to Duet Net Abyss. I think that'd be pretty good. Just not
I loved it.
Like staying.
Is that the Warframe one?
Long.
Is that the Warframe?
That's what I'm saying. Warframe. That's why I mentioned Warframe, dude.
That looks gorgeous. That looks gorgeous.
Dude, it was a sick beta test, dude.
Yeah, I wish I could have gotten in on it. I played it a little bit at Tokyo Game Show as well. I enjoyed it. Because I enjoyed that grind and that playstyle as well. So I'm looking forward to Duet Net Abyss, as well as obviously Ananta. I want to spend some more time on NTE as well. I don't care what anyone says. The way that they show the characters interacting again, going back to story, it's really vibrant, really energetic, and I like the characters as well.
The car customization in that looks amazing. I love the fact that we're going to be able to customize our vehicles as well.
I think people are glossing over a lot of the benefits, a lot of the pros that are in that game. They just think, oh, Ananta's better. Maybe, sure. But this is still a great game, and I want to play it.
It's still going to be a good game, yeah.
I just want to quickly point out, I hate when people make comparisons to games they either A, haven't played, or B, haven't actually seen footage from yet, right? People are claiming Ananta is going to be better than NTE. I played NTE. I thought NTE was fun. I thought it definitely, like, the combat was dog shit. Absolutely one of the worst combat systems I have
It can definitely
played.
work on it.
Yeah, exactly. That was my feedback.
wasn't
My
that bad.
feedback was, dude, you know, the combat is terrible. Please rework that. But, like, you know, aesthetically, NTE was beautiful. The world was fun. The instances were fun. The storytelling was probably one of the coolest forms of actually telling a story that I've seen in a gacha game. Period. It was fucking phenomenal. But, you know, like, they're saying, you know, Ananta from those 2 trailers look so much like, dude, what the fuck? We haven't seen or played anything of
There's
Ananta
only
yet.
a
There's
bit of gameplay in there.
Do you know what it
There's
is?
a bit of
Do you know what it
gameplay.
is though? Do you know what it is? Ananta and NTE are a new sub genre of gacha game. You know, you have like the typical medieval like hack and slash swords and gauntlets. You've got Wuthering Waves, you've got Genshin, right? That's like the fantasy, like open world gacha. Now we've got the modern day gacha, which is going to be NTE and Ananta. So
The
it's like
GTA gacha.
the GTA gacha
Yeah,
era is
basically.
here. The GTA
that's
gacha. So if anyone in the future would compare those two to Wuthering and Genshin, I'm just gonna have to stop them there because, like,
No.
well, one that is these
different.
are two completely different ball games here, because one of them is modern day mechanics and modern day era and a completely different vibe compared to what Genshin and Wuthering are. So if you want to compare Wuthering and Genshin together, you can. If you want to compare NTE and Ananta together, you can, but don't compare those 4 games in the same bowl. It just doesn't work.
Yeah,
It's
they'll
just
have
because
open
the gacha is
worlds.
like, oh, yeah.
That's it. They'll have like open worlds.
That's it.
They'll have action
That's
combat.
it.
That's it. There are
That's
so
it.
many
I
games that
think
also
that-
have
I
those
think that-
themes.
I think people need to
Solace?
stop comparing Ananta to GTA.
Really? Got cars in it, though,
Well,
you know?
Ananta's
can-
more
you
like
can.
Spider-Man.
I mean, by all means, go for it. But you're going to be extremely
Ananta's more like Spider-Man to me.
disappointed when Ananta comes out, because there's so. I mean, I don't think. Maybe you guys know, maybe you guys don't. How much development and how much effort was put into I mean, people. From what I know, people earned their like PhDs and shit doing some of the code and stuff for GTA 5. Now I don't know what GTA 6 is going to be like. I'm not talking about
Different
that.
gravy, mate.
I
Different
don't
glass.
think I don't think that this is going to be anything on the level of Grand Theft Auto 5.
I don't think that's what they're saying. I
Mind
just think it's going to be the closest thing to a gacha equivalent.
I think it's because of the absolute massiveness of the world and the exploration or the movement system. The movement system is more like Spider-Man. People are saying Spider-Man means GTA in gacha. You've got Ananta. Again, I wouldn't say GTA for Ananta. I would actually say more like closest to Spider-Man in terms of like the combat system.
Saints
system
Row
as well.
Saints Row.
Yeah. Is it Saints Row? I haven't played
I
that.
can
so-
see it.
I'd say Saints Row the third. Look at Saints Row if you
3.
haven't seen
Yep.
it. Saints Row 3.
Play it.
Play it. That I'm sorry, but I'd rather compare Saints Row 3 to Ananta than GTA to Ananta, because they
That's
actually
fair.
seem more
I just
cartoony in
think
that. Yeah.
If you compare GTA to Ananta, and if you played GTA 5, I just think that you'll be disappointed. I'm not saying
If you're
Ananta's
hoping for
gonna be
GTA
bad.
5, yes, absolutely.
But the closest comparison, I think people are saying that. That's all.
GTA,
It's
yeah.
like
No, I can see that too.
Superficially, it kind of looks like it, but if you're hoping for that, you're going to be disappointed.
Sorry,
I'll agree on that,
sorry,
for sure.
Stix. We've been
No,
ranting
you're
on
fine.
now.
You're fine. Solace. What got you looking forward to, or gotchas you're looking forward to?
So I would have answered you differently yesterday, but as of today, I think I'm going to say Ark Knights Enfield.
Hell yeah, dude! Nice choice. Nice
The
Good
choice.
pick.
music on that
A
is
lot
so
of
hype. I
content.
love the
They
I
must
did-
have really
I
done a
did-
good turnaround.
A lot of
Yeah.
stuff popping out over the last day or two on Ark Knights Enfield, and I started catching up on a little bit. And I'm not like blown away, but it's got my attention. It's got my
Yeah.
attention.
Gacha games.
I've already played it. I've already played the latest version at Tokyo Game Show. They had the things. When I was talking to Teton, he said, "Oh, I've played it. It's gonna be dead on arrival." I'm like, "Wait, are we talking about the same game here?" Like, I think he was talking about the old test version he's tried or something like that. The new version, it's different. The combat style is different. It's a lot more in what's the word? You got to think about it a little bit more. Where it's not just like bush EQ, bush EQ. You can when you're using your skills and your ults, you can actually the time slows down. You can make it a bit faster as well. It's a lot more. You got to be more thoughtful about it as well. It's a lot more in detail. And
Yeah, so more
More
forethought
thinking.
needs to go into your actions.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a good game. It's going to be different. If you're hoping for like Genshin or Wuthering Waves from
It's not the
Infinite,
same.
do not do that. ignore them. Just try to forget them. If you're hoping for that, you'll
Have they
be
gone for like
vastly
a bird's
disappointed.
eye view? Have they gone for like a bird's eye view camera?
It's more like a not bird's eye, not like that. It's like more as a 45-degree angle, like a third person.
Isometric, like an isometric kind of angle.
Kind of.
No, a top-down isometric perspective is kind of like Black Beacon or Lost Ark or
The old version of
Diablo.
Black Beacon, yeah.
So yeah, it definitely doesn't look like that.
Okay.
Yeah, it's like usually
okay.
Genshin, you're like behind them, whereas in
Yeah.
this one you're not behind. You're not just behind. You're like up as well. Like, you're like behind and up, like from this
Okay.
angle.
Okay. Interesting.
All right, guys. I'm gonna call that there because we've been at this for almost an hour and a half. I appreciate y'all being here for this. For everyone watching, if you haven't already, make sure to follow everyone here: Amethyst, EO, Ryuuku Sensei, and Solace. They're all phenomenal creators. Again, I appreciate having all you guys here, and I
Thank you for having us, man.
would greatly appreciate y'all being here for additional collabs in the future because I love doing this.
Absolutely.
And I would,
100%.
be totally up for doing plenty more of them.